Welcome back to Elden Ring. I think I have found possibly the strongest physical attack strength-based build in the game. You might have already seen this one, but I am going to show you how to get these weapons efficiently. And just quickly before we do get into the build, if you are not currently subbed to the channel, make sure you do sub, turn notifications on. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. All support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to support me further as a creator, then check out the links in the description. And let's get into it. So we are going to be power stancing or dual wielding the Iron Greatsword. From what I have heard, this is the highest physical attack power sword in the entire game, and I've made it a little bit better just by adding the heavy affinity. We've got RKR on there, so Royal Knight's Resolve. And before we get into the actual weapon, in order to get your hands on this, you can get it from the capital. But when you progress far enough into the game, you can no longer get it. You will be locked out of obtaining it from the capital. So if you come up to the Haligtree and you specifically go to the Haligtree Town Plaza, then when you do get here, if you turn to your right and you head north across this bridge, what you are going to do is, in this little room, there is a red-maned misbegotten enemy that is standing right there. You have to farm this guy. You'll get some decent runes out of it as well. I was getting 6,800 every single time, and I'm pretty sure I didn't even have a gold scarab on. So if you've got enough talisman slots, if you've got enough power and everything, then stick on the gold scarab to get even more whilst you're farming this. But basically what I did was chucked on the Gil's Flame Dragon incantation. Then I was just using the Faith Not Crystal tier and the Fire Shrouding or the Flame Shrouding crack tier. Then buffing it up even further with the Jellyfish Shield. Then just spit the flames at this guy, and after both of the breaths, he will be dead. I would recommend also putting on, as well as the Silver Scarab and boosting your Arcane for your item discovery, I would also recommend you put on a Silver Pickled Foulfoot, because it is a very, very rare drop. But you can get more than one in the same playthrough. You don't have to go through to New Game Plus. And he is relatively close to a Site of Grace, so it shouldn't take you as long as maybe going to other areas for it. And the higher your item discovery, the easier it will be to get. So into the build itself, we do have exactly the same stuff on both these great swords. So we have the heavy affinity with Royal Knight's Resolve, so they scale with strength at an A tier. And if you look at their attack power, 309 and 296 bonus from my stats. The requirements are pretty low for it, 18 strength and 10 dexterity. And then I'm going to be running the Golden Order seal. You can run any seal you want to, but I'm going to be buffing this one up with Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength, because it totals a bigger percentage than the Commander Standard, even though you do have to proc 2 things. Then for the armor, it's completely optional. However, I do strongly recommend, as always, the Raptor's Black Feathers, because we're going to be jumping into some of our attacks. For the talismans, I have the Star Scourge Heirloom to raise my strength up a little bit. I've got the Claw Talisman to pair with the Raptor's Black Feathers to further enhance the jump attacks. Then I'm running the Rotten Winged Sword Insignia to greatly raise our attack power with successive attacks. And then the Ritual Sword Talisman, just so that whilst we are at full health, we can raise our attack power even further. So those are the talismans I would run. And then in the Flask of Wondrous Physic, these are heavy hitting swords, so you're going to consume a lot of stamina. Therefore I've got the Green Burst Crystal tier, and also Strength Knot, which will take my strength up to 60, and that will last for 3 minutes. So with this build, because it purely scales off strength, you are only going to need to worry about that one stat. You can obviously boost some other stats if you want to, but there's absolutely no point. So just focus on your strength and get it as high as you possibly can. The higher the better, because if I come out of this menu and I drink my flask, the strength goes up to 60. So you'll see 309 plus 296, and then if I drink the flask, that 296 goes up to 329. And the armament attack power at the top right is normally 666 without the flask, so it buffs it up by 37. Not a huge increase, but it's still extra power out of the build. So what we're going to do for the showcase is come up to my favourite test subject, the giant up in Mountaintops of the Giants. And I am going to proc everything and show you the jumping left bumper attacks. Because if we quickly jump off and we do our left bumper, you can see that you're going to swing the swords together. That's the power stancing from it, because we're dual wielding 2 weapons of the same category. So you'll get a unique moveset. So if we drink our flask, and then we switch over to our seal, proc Golden Vow, then do Flame Grant Me Strength, and lock onto his foot. Then if I buff Royal Knight's Resolve on both weapons, then when he places that foot down, if we go in for a jumping attack, 10,000 in one jumping attack. I did this previously just to test the damage numbers beforehand, and I did actually hit him for 12k. So the numbers will vary, but they are very, very high numbers. And then when you get in for a crit, if we have a look at this, 625, and there was a nice 13,915 from the crit. So these are really, really powerful when you are dealing physical damage. You can obviously switch them up if you want to put seppuku on them and run them in a blood build or anything like that. However, they are going to mainly scale off strength. I believe they do have the highest base physical attack power in the game. So I'd strongly recommend putting the heavy affinity on them, using Royal Knight's Resolve, and just absolutely destroying everything that comes into your path because of how strong these swords are. So we'll have one more go at this guy quickly. There we go, that's more like it. 12,294. And you crit him so easy with these. So that crit right there was, 16,700. It just goes to show, like, there is a huge difference in when you attack the enemy. I did exactly the same buffs and everything like that, and it went from 10k on the first hit to 12, and I believe it was like 13,000 on the crit the first time round, up to nearly 17,000 on the second attempt. So the damage numbers will vary, and obviously if you get your strength up to 80, and you hit that highest soft cap, you're going to deal a lot more damage. There you go, so 5,400. We come over to Caelid for a little showcase as well, but the round did get itself involved. I want a clean showcase. I never ever get it. You know, I'm actually tempted to make some merch, like come up with a design around the rams in Elden Ring, because they just always get involved and just interfere with the showcases for builds. Okay, so again, it was around, what, 5,500 last time? 48.94 that time, so it was a little bit less. And again, I run this test before I started recording, and it was about 6,000 or something like that. So again, damage numbers will vary, but you can guarantee that you're going to one-tap that dog. So I mean, for the requirements, 18 strength and 10 dex, and the fact that you don't actually have to do too much to get loads of power out of them, because their base attack power is so high, I would say these are fantastic to put into a build. And as I said, you don't need to go through to New Game Plus or anything like that to get your hands on 2 of them. You just need a little bit of RNG when you're taking down the Misbegotten up in the Haligtree. There are a couple of other areas in the game where you can get them, but I voted to go for the Haligtree one because it's like relatively close to a site of grace. It will make the farming more efficient. So that was a look at a power stancing iron greatsword build in Elden Ring. That's going to wrap up the video. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it.